I have been watching you for some time, and I'm a Vietnam veteran.
Okay.
And I've been all over the world, man, but I've never been to Africa, man, and I've always wanted to go. I tell you. I kind of grew up in the military.
Okay.
So I was privileged, man, to go to a lot of countries. I even speak another language, okay. but I spent about a little over a year in Thailand. I only visit the islands. I've been to a lot of the islands, me and my wife. But Africa, I could never get there. For what?
We're going to get you there. That's how we're going to get you there.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. Last year, 2020, we were supposed to go, my wife and I, and she passed away.
Oh, no.
So this has been on my bucket list for some time. And now that she's gone, she left in January of 2020.
Oh.
And from stage 4 cancer. And she suffered for a little while. And then, the Lord took her home.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like I want to fulfill her dreams and my dreams at the same time. So this is like, what I want to do is go there, and I just want to feel the country, man. And, so my kids, man, I got 18 grandkids and 8 great grandkids, and I want to make room for them.
You surprised me with the great grands. I was okay with the grands, but then the great grands kind of threw me off there.
Yep, I got the greats, man. So, wow. and I'm on my way to greats too. I would love to be on that June trip. You just tell me what the procedures are, and I could be ready.
My thing is, I'm gonna walk you through it personally.
Okay. Oh man, I love that.
Because like I said in one of my videos, I don't see many black men over there.
Oh man,
so I'm like, okay, come on, let me walk you through this, and it will. I want to make sure that happens for you. And when you told me about your wife and you were trying to get to the continent, I'm like, I'm gonna make sure you get there.
You know what? And I play in a band.
I play keys. Just want you to know, I play keys too now.
Yeah. and I want to hear those drum beats, man.
Well, you gonna get all of that.
I come from a neighborhood, man, where everybody played percussions. I mean, I'm excited, man, just with the thought. That someone like me, is interested, man, or knows about Africa, man. So I am your student, man.
Yes, I'm gonna walk you through it.
I'm here with James. He made it. Made it.
I made it, man. I'm on the continent, man, in Ghana.
How do you feel?
Great.
When you were coming in, you were talking about all of the melanin, all the chocolate.
Oh yeah.
What do you feel?
Absolutely wonderful, man. This is really something. I think everyone should have this experience. Don't wait as long as I did. Come soon. Come quickly.
Play the drums together.
Baby, we should take it slow. Yeah. testimonials suggest, so what the Dutch Junior suggests were eating and drinking. Who came into this room or who went out through this door, never in their lives came back into this place.
James representing.
If you want it to, that's all I got for chicken wings.
Oh, you did get the Alfredo.
I did.
But that's what they say kill the COVIDs, right?
Yeah, there's elastic.
You need that spice.
In the 60s and the 70s, it was basically, it was a rebellious time, but it wasn't an educational time. And this is where it should have started. Like you did, that's where it should have started here and then there. Now, when I went to E.W. Bois, I was literally blown away by what I saw. I had no idea that that man had written so many books and they're not even published. I had no idea. I mean, that really hit me hard. That's why I asked the lady if it was possible to come there and sit and read some of these books. I read about 5 paragraphs, just the beginning of them, and every one of them was insightful. I mean, he had so much insightful things to say. I'm not surprised that he made the friends that he did. I am totally impressed and overwhelmed, and I want to thank you. For getting me there. I'm the youngest of 12 kids, and mostly men, 10 brothers and 2 sisters. And it just, the narrative has been wrong. And it behooves every black person to find out who he is, where he came from. You know, at my age, I'm not interested in money. You know, I'm interested in finding out where and who and what and how we can help a whole race of people that's been bamboozled. They've been hoodwinked mentally. I don't want to talk too much. I'm saying I'm getting emotional, and you know that's not where I want to be right now. But if anyone, it's just this is where this is taking me. You know, this trip has been it's been absolutely educational, but emotionally educational. So I just thank you, Jack. You know, and stay on fire, stay in tune, keep doing what you're doing. You know, because I think you were created for such a purpose, for such a time as this.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm here in Accra, Ghana, with the Mr. James Ezel. And, you know, when he first started talking about coming to Ghana, he shared with me a very compelling story. And I asked him on a discovery call if he would give me the honor of walking him through the process and bringing him to Ghana. So James, I want to thank you for trusting me with the process. I want to thank you for coming. And just tell me a little bit about your story and I guess why you've never visited Africa before. And then we'll talk a little bit about your experience since you've been here.
Well, first of all, the narrative about Africa has always been difficult. You know, I've always assumed that Africa was not the place to visit. You know, well, I surely found that out, that it was wrong. And I thank you for that, because one of the things and one of the reasons I came is basically because of the things that you said and how you pointed out, you know, what I always felt like their narrative was wrong. And after watching some of your videos, I decided that I was going to come. And now that I've come, all I got to say is every black person should visit Africa. There's a lot to be seen here. There's a lot to be learned here. There's a lot to be understood here. And I'm overwhelmed. This is my last day, but I really feel like I'm leaving home, as opposed to on my way back home. It's the people here are humble, they're gracious, they're loving, they're lovable.
So all that stuff that they say about the Africans not liking us
is wrong. It's totally wrong.
Did you experience them Africans not liking us?
None of that. I've been well received. It's almost as if I've heard "welcome home" so many times, but it's a big difference when you look into a person's eyes and when they say "welcome home," they mean it.
And that's what you felt.
That's what I felt. I really felt at home. There's a lot that I have to digest, after I get home, and I'm definitely coming back, and I'm even thinking about investing here, spending more time here in the future, and getting to know the people, the country, and it's a spiritual experience. It really is, and I'm a little upset that I waited so long.
So, okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that a little bit, because what you did was inspired me to create something for seniors. Because I saw, do you mind if I share your age at all?
No, you go ahead. It's okay. I'm proud, man.
Well, you tell everybody that.
Well, basically, I'm 74 years old, and I'm very proud.
But you're the coolest 74-year-old I know. Because my mother's 75. Yeah. So technically, you're old enough to be my father. But I have had the best time hanging out with you because growing up, I didn't grow up with a father. And so my perspective about older black men was always negative. But just like Africa shattered its image for you, you shattered that image for me.
No.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow. I'm like, so in some ways, I'm hanging out with this older black man. And I didn't know, because I thought most older black men were, just what I thought they were. I wouldn't get into all that right now.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But just hanging out with you, and so we would always joke. And never in my life have I hung out with someone old enough to be my father, but still be able to hang out with him like he's my brother.
Oh, wow.
And that's what that. So I just want you to know, this trip touched you, but it also touched me.
No.
So I just wanted to drop that in there. So everyone, James is 74 years young, and when you went to W.E.B. Du Bois, when you went to the dungeons, when you went to W.E.B. Du Bois, what did that experience feel like for you?
Well, one of the things, W.E.B. Du Bois, I've always known about him. I've seen him. I knew about the Pan-African movement, and at sometime in my life, I was a part of that. But I never really understood exactly what he was doing. Coming here and realizing that this was a man that left America, came here, wrote so many books, and was well received here. He had a life here. I think his life here shined more than the one he had in America. And I didn't realize that he actually lived here, and he was as old as he was when he passed.
Right.
In his 90s. Being in his home and seeing those books, all of those books that he wrote, and none of them are on Amazon.
Oh, okay, you searched.
You really couldn't find none of those books on Amazon. It's amazing that a black man has written so many books about the subjects of slavery and racism and the image of black Americans and blacks in America would be so overlooked. There's a treasure there. That's one of the reasons why I asked the procurator if it was possible that someone could come there and read a few of these books.
Yeah.
Because they should be republished. Black America has been in the dark for centuries. You know, we're running around trying to find ourselves. Generation after generation is lost. There's no education in terms of letting Black America know who they are. That's why I would say, if you're Black, you really need to come to Africa. You're running around calling yourself Afro-Americans, but yet you've never been to Africa.
See that when you said that, and a lot of people do that, and I think that what happens, a lot of us have a perception of Africa in our mind, and we want to be Afrocentric without realizing all of the diversity within Africa. It's like there's so many different aspects of it. So many. You know, you have Dashiki's one place, you have Kente other places, you have if you go to the Maasai, that's completely different than the Ashanti. So it's like what you're articulating is the fact that you realize that there's more.
Much more that we really need to press. You know, we really need to press to educate ourselves. You know, here I am, 74. I've been in the war. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I've been around the world, quite a few places. Thank you, because of the military, but I also did a lot of traveling on my own after I got out. But never once did I think about coming to Africa. And I regret it. You know, I really regret it that it took so long. I don't know, I have more years behind me than I do in front of me. But the ones that I have in front of me, I am definitely going to spend a lot of that on this continent. And this is, it's just been an educational experience. A joyful one too. I mean, the people that I've met. I was even asked to be a chief after talking to two young Africans, and it was an incident where Oriental was just watching them, and they didn't appreciate his presence, but they knew who he was, and I simply inquired, who was it? And he told me the story, and I said, well, you shouldn't let people like that come in and invest in your town unless you really know them. And they, because of that statement, that little exchange, they said, well, you need to be our chief. You know, they haven't had a chief in 30 years.
Oh, wow.
The culture over here is different. If you ever come here, don't expect American culture.
Right.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
You know, they are different, but you can acclimate yourself to it because of the cultural narrative that we, in our DNA. You know, it's just natural. I mean, I can flow with what's going on here for whatever reason. It's mystical.
Yeah.
You know, it's mystical. But I believe that I can truly be comfortable in an environment like this.
Let me ask you this question about, let's talk a little bit about senior citizens. Because when I started mentioning the interest that we have in reaching our seniors, it's like it opened up a whole, it was like something that had been capped.
Yeah.
Because in our culture, what we do is have a tendency to want to dismiss our seniors. So when they get older, like, well, where are we going to put them? What are we going to do with them? Because now they become a problem. This is how many Gen Xers think, many millennials think. So basically, what we're doing is like putting them somewhere until they die. I mean, I have to be that. I have to break it down like that. But what I'm finding is after hanging out with you, after hanging out with him, and laughing as hard as I've laughed, I don't think I've laughed this hard in years. It's like the senior population, they're looking for something to do, and they want to have fun, and they want to explore, and they want to just everything that you articulated. But either their children don't want them to travel, or somebody's afraid, or somebody's saying something negative. What can you, or how can you, or what would you say to seniors as far as, that's the term, the bucket list?
Yeah.
What would you say to them as far as making that move to travel to Africa?
I would say, first of all, lose the fear. Lose the fear. Fear has been a major problem with a lot of us because we don't want to venture out. And if the Lord bless you with physical attributes. Like I'm pretty healthy, you know, and I don't have a lot of sicknesses. I don't take a lot of medication, and that's the grace of God.
Yes.
As a senior citizen, you know, we are more in position to do a lot of exploring than a lot of young people, because, you know, for lack of a better way of saying it, a lot of young people still have their heads in the vice because they're trying to establish themselves, you know, raise families, or take care of themselves, go to work every day. I've been retired for what, 4 years, this is in my 4th year. And during the course of my retirement, I lost my wife. You know, and, this was always on our bucket list, if you will. You know?
So you and your wife had planned to come to Africa?
Yeah, we had planned to come, but she got sick, and we weren't able to come. And basically, I'm trying to finish off our bucket list, you know. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but, you know, of course, God loved her more than I did, and he brought her home. So we don't know when we're going to leave here. So that's one of the reasons why, if you are a senior citizen, 50 or above, you really need, and you're black, you really need to visit the continent of Africa.
Yeah.
Come. You will not regret it.
Because you never felt any fear?
No fear. No fear. And, you know, and thanks to you, I came with no expectation. You know, came simply to observe and see, you know, because believe it or not, we all bring our own narrative here with us when we come, and we try to match our narrative up with what we see.
Yes.
And you have to be careful about that, you know, because some people just starched on, oh, I just believe lions, tigers, and elephants are there. I don't want to see that stuff. Yeah, and Africa is a continent, it's not a country. Everybody don't have flies flying around here, you know, and you know, it's just a place, man, where you can literally see your aunt, your uncle, you know.
You can see pieces of yourself.
Pieces of yourself, and it's a mystical. Being around so many black people.
Oh yeah.
You know, and feeling comfortable, you know, and they are really interested in you, because one thing that I realized, that they know instantly that you're from America, that you're not.
That accent comes out, you can't help it. Yeah.
When you start speaking, they know you, but they light up.
Yeah.
You know, they light up because they're truly interested, you know.
I've never had a moment where I was disrespected.
Yeah.
As far as, I mean, I've had moments where I've had to negotiate and I've had to approach it from that standpoint, but I've never had a moment where I felt like, oh, I don't belong here, or these people don't like me.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you explained that. What would you say to young people? To young people, to teenagers, or to young adults, as far as coming here, because a lot of young people have said, "Oh, I don't want to go to Africa. I want to have my dream trip in Europe, and I want to go to all these different places. Yeah, I'm trying to go to Asia. I'm trying to go to wherever else, but they don't say they want to come to Africa." So, what would you say to a young person?
I would say to a young person that it behooves them to come to Africa. You know, we're quick, young and old, to run to the Bahamas. You know, nothing against the people in the Bahamas.
Right, because they work hard too.
But they work hard, but they're servants. And that's what you see when you go there. As an older person, all I see is servants.
When you go to the Bahamas?
When you go to the Bahamas. I've been to Tortola, quite a few of the islands, and St. Kitts is one of the islands where, you know, blacks have some authority. But basically, you see a lot of servitude, you know, and but here you see ownership, you see proud people.
I already know the Bahamians are going to they're going to have a fit now.
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
They're going to have a fit in the comments.
I was asked the question, and I'm simply giving my opinion.
There you go.
That's all. This is nothing more than my opinion of what I see. I mean, we can't please everybody, but everybody has an opinion.
That's right. That's right.
And this is just my opinion, even my opinion of Africa. This is nothing more
than your thoughts of what you see.
And what I see, and the comparisons that I've made. It's very how you say, it's very enlightening, and it fills me when I see black pilots and, you know, black hotel owners, resort owners.
Right.
You know,
that's where we've been. We
see all of that. You know, I mean, sure, we got some of that in America, but hey, it's everywhere here.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
You know, you can't miss it here.
Yeah, you can't.
It's very prevalent. We've shown the leadership here is black.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's something that you don't see. You know.
So it's inspiring for, say, like a young person when they come. They're able to see what benefit do you think a young person would get out of what you just shared? What do you think they would take away from that?
They would take away. You notice one of the things I've noticed that all the cab drivers, all of the car, you know, the traffic is kind of, it's on the horrible side.
Yeah, the traffic is.
The traffic is kind
I
of
didn't talk about that.
But when you look at the drivers, they're all young people. The cabbies.
With that skill set to drive and all of this.
Yes, very young people. And as a matter of fact, it's just about, at one time I was wondering where the old people were, because all I saw was youth. And that's what I think the young people that would come here would see. They see the tenacity of the young black Africans here. They're skillful.
Yes.
You know, every one of them is skillful. And the entrepreneurship is off the chain.
Yes.
Everybody.
Everybody.
I mean, from the kids to
everybody.
The old folks. Everybody, lottie-dottie.
And everybody. You took it old school on us right there for
sure. It has some type of business. And that's inspiring, and that's what I believe young people would take away. You know, they see someone, you know, their own peers doing well. The young man that was our guide in the rainforest.
Yes.
All of them were fairly young.
Yes.
And the young one that at the Slave River.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Young, intelligent, very informative. You know, and I believe young people would take that away and would inspire them that, you know, you do not have to do what you're doing. Basically, I don't want to point out some of the things.
Some of the challenges we have happening in America.
Yeah, they have the things that they're doing.
So you think this could be a good place for someone, let's say a young person and this is why I encourage parents, because a lot of times we keep our children in different bubbles. We put them in the box, but sometimes what they need is to have their minds broadened and they can see other parts of the world. I'll give you an interesting story. I did a discovery call with a young lady. It looked like she was probably in her 20s. And with her being in her 20s, it was clear she had a criminal record. And she asked a question. She said, well, can I travel with charges? So it took me a minute to catch what she was saying. And I was like, with charges. So she explained that she had a criminal record. And when she said it, you know, a lot of people would dismiss her because they would have looked at her and said, well, she's a little rough around the edges. Why does she want to go to Africa? And I told her, I said, you're the very person that needs to come.
Exactly.
So that you can expand, so you can get out of that, whatever it is that we don't know her story. So whatever you're facing, you need to come expand your mindset and your horizons. And that's what I'm seeing with so many of our youth, that if they can begin to expand how they see the world, then they show up in the world differently.
Yeah. I believe that our youth has lost hope. You know, basically because of the narrative and because of the lack of respect for, you know, black people. And I believe simply that slavery was only possible because of our color. You know, we were visual. We could be seen. And it was easy for them to control us because we were different. We looked different. And then because of that, I think it was successful because of that. If they passed, if every white person agreed, then they should have no problem controlling.
But you know, a lot of the young people don't even know about slavery. The school systems are removing the curriculums. You even have a wave of people within our own community who's they're trying to say, let's not talk about it anymore. It was in the past. Let's forget it. Let's move on. And I do agree that it should not be a crutch, because some people use it as a crutch for insolent behavior. They say, well, I'm going to just, because of slavery, now this gives me a right to just be, act any kind of way. But a lot of our children don't understand how it impacts them today, and how the things that were passed down through the generations, the different things that we endured and still endure, are direct results of what happened in West Africa and other parts of Africa. So it's, but to your point, them coming helps them to see even more.
We went through the slave castles. It was emotional for me. Seeing that, and it would be for anyone that saw that, because knowing that your ancestors had endured that, you can take away either we were a condemned people, or you can take away that we were a strong people, and yet we're still surviving, and we're still here. So that's my takeaway, realizing how strong we really are.
Yeah.
And we can survive. We have survived that, and we're still surviving, and we're still moving forward. Young people really need to come here, and you can visit a couple. I intend on visiting Tanzania, Gambia, South Africa, all of those places, and I want to get the flavor,
And they all have different flavors.
Yeah.
And you love all of the different flavors. That's the
I'm
part.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will. This was the beginning of my journey, even at my age. So if I can do this at 74, you can definitely do it at 47.
That's right. You can definitely do it at 47.
That's around the time you're about to retire and whatnot. And
maybe not 47. Maybe not 40. That's a little on the young side.
For the diligent ones.
For the diligent ones.
Yeah. But I tell you, man, it's this is something that we should all do.
Let me ask you this. This is that you have me thinking. What would your wife say about what you're doing?
Oh man, what would she say? Well, it was something that we wanted to do. It was on our bucket list. We didn't go to the Dominican Republic, and we stayed for a month. That was our first trip. That was the beginning of our bucket list. And we went there. We managed to stay there for 30 days. Then we traveled around visiting relatives in different states and stuff. And then we planned a trip for Israel, Egypt, and Kenya. And that's when she got sick. That was 3 countries there that we were going to go to. And I do intend on going to Israel, because I am a spiritual person. And I believe in what Jesus Christ has done for us. So that's one of my values. And I find that faith exists here very strongly.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
very strongly. And that's another attractive thing to me, because of the Christian faith that people are believing here, and they walk it. It's a powerful thing that's going on here. The slave quarters was one of the things that really took me. I mean, it just, the way they explained it, how they, in detail, the atrocities, that was committed. And then they even took the blame of selling us themselves. So some of the chiefs were responsible for sending us into slavery for whatever gain. And one story that a Ghanaian told me really showed me the character of the people back then, when he said that Africans were so afraid of the gun that a slaver could lean a gun up against a tree and go to wherever, do something else, and would tell the natives, if you move, that gun is going to shoot you. I mean, there's no one behind the gun.
No one's there. The gun is
leaning up against the tree, and they would tell, and they believed it.
And would go talk to the gun and ask the gun, can I go to
the gun? Yes, exactly. That's what he did. We would go up to the gun and say, Mr. Gun, can I go to the bathroom or go and do something? It's amazing. that the fear that was created in these people, but they were humble people, and they were able to be taken advantage of. So today, I think that we believe in what we hear so much. We have to learn and develop critical thinking, to the point where we can, don't fall for everything. I mean, that was something that these people experienced. But today, there's no justification for us to experience any. We live in the age of education, the age
Right,
of
so
knowledge.
we don't have an excuse to
No excuse not
we
to
can
know
go.
something.
If we want to know, we can go research it and find it out.
We can research it, and we can create our own narrative. But you do it through education, through information, and that's how you do it. And we live in a world where the whole world's connected now, and we have the internet, and we can Google stuff, and even the stuff that you Google is not all true.
Right, but at least you can check.
Yeah, you
check
can
the
check
stuff.
and recheck and
Go back and forth and put it together.
And build your own narrative as opposed
See, they're
to
having fun over there.
listening to other people's narrative.
You hear them over there?
Yeah.
So James, this is what I want to do. I want to thank you for trusting me with your journey.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people are concerned about, okay, I'm going to Africa, what should I expect? And when I asked you, I said, let me walk you through this. I was determined to make sure that you had the experience of a lifetime. And I could tell.
You did that.
I could tell you had the experience of a lifetime.
Yes, I did.
The friends you met, all the new people.
Yeah, great people. And it wasn't a lot of us, but some beautiful people. I got to make new friends.
And you did this during the COVID times too.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, all the while everybody during COVID time.
Yes. You know what? And I tossed all of that fear. Fear can stop you. Can
especially our people. For some reason, it shuts us down. If somebody puts it tells you how easily people were spooked back in the day because somebody put one little ounce of fear. Now people gravitate towards the fear instead of the courage. And you talked about being a spiritual person, and I'm just reminded of a scripture where it talks about we've been given a spirit of power,
right, and
not a fear, and a sound mind. But I see so many people flowing and living in fear, and it's like, how are you going to go do anything?
Exactly.
If fear is the first thing that comes in you, embrace. It's one thing to be afraid. It's nothing to walk in fear.
Walk in fear.
And so not the power that you say you have. So those are things that I've watched you demonstrate that. So with that said, I want to thank you for coming on this tour. I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts, and I'm looking forward to getting you Tanzania.
Oh yeah.
That's
most definitely,
because that's another experience.
Yes,
that's another whole thing.
And because of the way you handled this, the way there was never a dull moment.
It kept y'all moving.
You kept us moving. You kept us moving. But the thing is this, man. I can tell this is your gift because you're moving in it. And when people are moving in their purpose, it's easy, and you are always on point. And you're gracious. You're accommodating. You have all of those elements, man, that garner success. That's all I can say. And thank you, man, because if it weren't for you, I truly don't believe I would be here.
Well, it's my honor, my brother. All right.
And this ain't the end.
That's it. All right, everyone, Mr. James Ezel. And again, if you want more information about the tours that we have coming to different parts of Africa. Africa is a continent with more than 54 countries, thousands of different languages, thousands of cultures. It's not just one thing. If you want to learn more, if you're a senior and you want to travel, if you're a young person, you want to travel, let's say you're middle-aged like me and you want to travel, all you have to do is go to MaximumImpactTravel.com. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, share. Let people know what we're doing, how we're changing the narrative, how we're telling our own stories, and we're doing this so that we can empower not just Black people, but anyone who has an interest in the African diaspora and wants to assist in righting some of the wrongs. That's what this is here for, and we would like to see you somewhere in Africa. See you soon.